two children aged 3 and 11 found dead alongside their mother and father were stabbed to death in what is believed to be a murder-suicide. The bodies of Monika Wlodarczyk, 35 years of age, and her husband Michael Wlodarczyk were found alongside their daughter Maya Wlodarczyk, 11 years of age, and son Dawid Wlodarczyk, 3 years of age, after police forced their way into the family home in Hounslow, West London on Friday. Post-mortems on the two children revealed their causes of death. Maya was stabbed directly in the heart, while Dawid, perhaps David, suffered multiple stab injuries, both stabbed to death. Monika Wlodarczyk was also killed from multiple sharp force injuries, stab wounds. Officers gave no further information into her husband's death other than he suffered from a sharp force injury to the neck. So we're told that it is believed to be a murder-suicide. The husband and wife killed, the two children killed, Maya and Dawid or David. My guess could be wrong, but I doubt I am, is that the father, Michael Wlodarczyk, took his own life. I'm going to say slit his own throat. That would be my take on it. We're told that he suffered from a sharp force injury to the neck, so that's going to be a stab wound to the neck. Self-inflicted, no doubt. Each death is being treated as part of an ongoing murder probe, but no one is currently being sought over the deaths. Again, confirmation that investigators believe that it was a murder-suicide and that the murderer was either the mother or father. I'm going to say presumably the father. We're told that the alarm had been raised by Little Maya's school after her friends hadn't heard from her for 4 days and family members hadn't replied to any messages. Police were forced to kick down the door of the home in Staines Road, Bedfont, Hounslow, London, where they discovered the 4 bodies inside. The exact date of the deaths is not yet known, so it could be the case that the entire family, the mother, the father, the 2 children, were laying deceased in the home for several days. Neighbors have said that the family were lovely, they originated from Poland, and that the mother was recently seen playing with the 2 children in the garden very happily. Those are the full details of this tragedy that we have at this point in time. Of course, full condolences to the extended family and friends of all of the victims, the schoolmates of the 2 children, Maya and Dawid or David, neighbors, people in the local community. Everyone's going to be absolutely shattered by this terrible tragedy. The investigators, of course, they're going to have to focus on this subject for months, perhaps years to come. It's going to be traumatic for really everyone that's touched by this tragedy. So, of course, full condolences to all concerned. We're not told of any motives. We can only guess. Is it worthwhile guessing? Is it worthwhile to speculate? Perhaps so. I live in Australia and I can tell you that life is tough and life has been tough for quite a while for many. I personally don't see things getting better. I see a lot of doom and gloom on the horizon. Let me remind you, Russia is at war with Ukraine. Some say that World War III has already started. Many believe that there could be a nuclear war. Am I going on too much of a tangent? No, I don't think so, because I think these things are relevant. I think there are a lot of threats on the horizon for society, Western society in general, England, Australia, America, Europe in general. I mean, just that one subject, the Ukraine war, the Russia war, that affects a lot of Europe. NATO is at war against Russia. Kind of a silent war in a way. We're pretending that NATO isn't at war, but in reality they are. We're told that there are excess deaths. We're not really told why. Some believe because of the vaccine, but we're not allowed to discuss that. We've been told for many years that the economy is about to collapse, the global economy, that we're about to enter a depression. Hasn't happened yet, might happen. We do know that the cost of living is insane in Australia, in Europe. Cost of housing, crazy in places like Canada. It's not a new thing. It's been creeping up on us for decades, really. And it does seem that we're at a breaking point for many. So we can speculate about motives, and my speculation would be mental health would be at play here. I would presume that the father, Michael Wlodarczyk, is the culprit. My presumption, the article doesn't tell us, but my presumption is he was the aggressor, that he killed his 2 children, Maya and David, killed his wife, in what order we don't know, and then took his own life, stabbed himself in the neck would be my guess. And why would he have done such a horrific thing? Well, we could say that he was overcome with evil. We could say that he's a devil. Perhaps he's got a history of violence. Perhaps he's got a history of domestic violence. We don't know. We're not told. Perhaps he does, perhaps he doesn't. But I would say mental illness. That's how I would explain the situation. That's how I'm able to process this situation. I don't think it's necessarily a fully satisfactory satisfactory explanation. I don't really know what I mean when I say what I'm about to say, but it's all I can say is that I presume the father snapped, had a mental breakdown. We've seen this happen in America last week. I forget the state, perhaps Ohio. I did cover it, but a father shot and killed execution style his 3 young boys. He also shot his wife. Thankfully, she only suffered a minor injury. His young daughter was able to run away unharmed. And in that situation in America, we're told that it's believed that the father snapped, had a mental breakdown. Why would such a thing happen? Well, the most obvious reason would be financial difficulties, the general financial strain that is being put upon so many of us. I don't have children, but I can imagine that even those young families, husband and wife or partners that have got children that perhaps have been doing well in the workplace, perhaps have had good incomes, I can imagine that just a bump or two in the financial road and they could be in serious trouble. If either or both of the parents or one of the children suffer a medical condition that costs money, perhaps takes them out of the workplace, perhaps they make a bad investment, perhaps with the increase in interest rates they're not going to be able to pay their mortgage anymore, perhaps one of them loses a job, combined with the ever increasing cost of living, I can imagine that it wouldn't take much for a lot of people to be pushed to a breaking point, financially speaking, unable to process the difficulties that they face or that they believe they face. I'm guessing that may not be the situation at all in this case, in the case of the Wlodarczyk family. But that is the presumption that I would go to, that there was a financial difficulty. The father, Michael Wlodarczyk, couldn't see a way out, felt trapped, felt smothered. With that, had a mental psychotic episode and acted in a horrific, evil manner by taking the lives of his children and his wife and then himself. Perhaps there was a history of violence and or domestic violence, but I can imagine this situation occurring even if the aggressor doesn't have a history of violence or domestic violence or indeed a mental health issue previously. So what's the answer here? Well, really don't know, but access to mental health support seems to be really the only solution that I could think of. If people, families are facing financial difficulty, they need to have more of an opportunity to survive, more of an opportunity to not have a drastic lowering of their living standard, more of an ability to secure the safety and welfare of themselves, of their children. So I guess I'm not just saying mental health support, I'm saying financial support. There needs to be better financial support, a better safety net. The Wlodarczyk family comes from Poland. There's a big Polish contingent in England. I don't know how large the Polish community would be in Hounslow. I would imagine it could be quite large. But even so, perhaps the family didn't have any extended family in England or in London. Perhaps they felt alone and perhaps they felt like failures. Perhaps if they were struggling in one capacity or another, be that financial or marital or whatever it is, perhaps they felt that they were failing in life and perhaps they didn't have a community to outreach to, family to outreach to. We don't know. I guess I've gone on a bit of a ramble there, just trying to understand things a little bit better. I guess my thoughts boil down to this seemingly is a mental health issue, probably caused by financial difficulties and exacerbated by having a lack of community support given that they're Polish immigrants. But either way, it's an absolute tragedy. 4 people dead, 2 children, the mother and the father. I am disgusted by the actions of the father. Again, I'm making a presumption that he's the guilty party. We're not told that in the article. But even with that, I don't fully hate the man. I feel some level of empathy towards him. I know some of you will vehemently disagree with my statement there, but I feel that he deserves some level of empathy. I'm guessing that he suffered a mental health episode and that he too was struggling. I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, and share the video as you see fit.